Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joseph.
Hello.
And Jehu. Here this week to talk about Marvel's latest effort. Hey, guys, all we do is talk about Marvel shit. You guys, it just overwhelms the media these days. But Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness came out this week. The film follows Doctor Strange as he tries to protect a young girl, America Chavez, whose ability is to jump through the multiverse and defend her from the desires of Wanda Maximoff, who wants to reunite with her fake children.
I mean, to be fair, your synopsis of this movie is, I feel like, kind of a spoiler, at least based on the trailer materials that I had seen so far. But maybe I just didn't watch any of the trailers.
I think that is very split, because I agree. It feels like a spoiler to me because I feel like that was presented as a twist. But when I talked to Sarah about it, she was like, "Oh, I knew that going in. I got it from the trailer." So I think different people just saw different things.
Huh.
I felt like we were very open that Wanda was really the villain of this movie. I think a lot of people expected there to be a secondary villain that they would unite and defeat together, but nope, she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
This movie has all the normal reoccurring people. The Benedicts, Benedict Cumberbatch and Benedict Wong, Elizabeth Olsen, some spoilery people.
How many co-stars named Benedict do you think there have been in the history of cinema?
This
Very
has
few.
to be a first.
It's got to be like single digits for sure.
Yeah, it's they just released a marketing video for, see the biggest movie in the world starring the Benedicts, and it's just like Benedict Wong and Benedict Cumberbatch giving each other nicknames, and it's the worst commercial I've ever seen. I mean, we could go into who else is in this movie, but that feels pretty spoilery.
Right.
So do we want to give our general reactions?
It sounds good.
Sure. One of the things, I can't remember if you mentioned it up at the very top, but this was directed by Sam Raimi, who I think a lot of people probably are most familiar with from the Spider-Man films, but he wanted to make sure that he also does other stuff in the Spider-Man films in this movie. I think prior to the Spider-Man films, his most famous, his original breakout hit was Evil Dead, and he's got a pretty storied horror background, and that shows in this movie hard. I know there's been a lot of debate, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it, about what this should have been rated. It was rated PG-13. It definitely, regardless, is the most explicitly horror-y and possibly psychologically damaging movie that Marvel has released. All that said, it's super fun. I like a good genre thing. It's a direction that Marvel hasn't gone, and I felt like Sam Raimi was having fun with it, and therefore I had fun with it.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you up because my opinion is that I fucking loved it because it is the Raimiest Raimi thing Raimi could do. Like, it is nothing but like a collection of Sam Raimi hits. There's like a Spider-Man scene. There's like a Drag Me to Hell scene. There's an Evil Dead 2 bit. And it's all wrapped up into this Doctor Strange movie, which it honestly fits. Because it's like 100% a Sam Raimi movie, but I would also say it's 100% a Doctor Strange movie too. I'm sure I've said it on here before. You guys know Doctor Strange is my favorite character. And one of the things that I really love about Doctor Strange comics is it talks a lot about the weight of magic, like the cost that magic has. And this movie, that's a big point in this film, specifically in reference to like the Darkhold. I don't know. I really, really liked it. It's exactly what I wanted this movie to be. I get a lot of people wanted it to be like a cameo fest or like a quasi sequel to No Way Home. And it's definitely not that.
No.
But it's what I wanted it to be. So I came out very, very happy.
And we'll talk about that. I also feel like before Hurt goes, there are some specific story beats in this that I thought were like tailor-made for Jehu. So I'm curious to see what your feelings are on it, buddy.
First of all, I'm just so glad because I really came into this thinking this whole podcast was going to be me defending my position because I fucking loved this. I thought this was so fucking great. It's so goddamn trippy.
Yeah.
The original Ditko Doctor Strange comics have a lot of psychedelic imagery in it, which is funny because he was a square. That wasn't really who he is. But man, this really runs with that. It's just so... First of all, I have so many thoughts coming out here. This movie, we'll talk about this more in spoilers, but it made me coin a term, and that term is Chekhov's zombie. But also for that to work, it would have to imply that this movie has acts, and it really doesn't. It's just one thing happening to get you to the next thing to see another crazy thing. That sounds like an admonishment, but I fucking loved it.
For guys like us who all prefer shorter movies, that's a good thing. Like this is straight killer the whole time.
No doubt.
It is beat. And again, that's my kind of stuff, especially in a dumb superhero genre movie. I don't need 13-minute monologues about what vengeance means. Yes, I'm taking a shot at the Batman. I want to see him fight a bad guy and then give me the exact amount of information I need to get you to the next bad guy he's going to fight.
I mean, I can tell you guys, I just recently went back and watched the OG Raimi Spider-Man. And, I feel like we make fun of older movies, like, even like the early James Bond movies, for there's just like a lot of fucking space.
Right.
Like there's a lot of shots of people like standing up and walking from room to room that like don't need to be there.
Right.
But having watched the Raimi Spider-Man, I was like, maybe we're going backwards because that shit is tight as fuck. Like, there's not a wasted second of screen time in that movie. And I don't think this one is quite as tight, but it's definitely like he does not want to waste your time. He wants to get to the story he wants to tell.
Well, I also think, Marvel has tried and had problems with, since things started snowballing and things being so universal, doing sort of movies that stand well on their own,
Yeah.
Examples like Iron Man 3 and the Eternals, where they really tried to do a thing that was its own thing, and just, it didn't really work because people need all that world building shit all the time. And I think this one shows you how to do that. You just get a really distinct filmmaker and let him go fucking crazy. Because as Christian says, this is the most Raimi thing. It's like if you took Sam Raimi, like right after he directed Evil Dead 2 and said, hey, we're going to give you $300 million to do whatever you want to in a superhero movie. This is the movie you would get. It's almost like him really going back to his roots. It's hard for me to equivocate how much fun I thought this movie was.
Yeah, same, man. I had into all the points you just made, like as a person who loves that guy as a filmmaker and pretty much likes every movie he's ever made, including that Western with Leo DiCaprio. Like I enjoyed them all. And to see him get to be that guy to the fullest in especially for a studio that kind of gets knocked for not being like a filmmaker studio or so people claim. But like it's really hard to keep that argument up after this film because it is so Raimi that you have to wonder at what point did Marvel like, okay, that's too much, because I want to see that cut. Like how far did this guy try to go? Or Joseph, to your point about how tight it is, I saw, people are like, oh, where's the Raimi cut? They cut 36 minutes. Apparently he was the guy who was like, oh, it's too long. We got to get it down to 2 hours.
Right. Yeah. I also feel like there's places in it where it kind of felt like, oh, you guys are just, is there a script? Are you guys just making this up as you go along? But I also mean that in the best possible way. Like it would seem, they would introduce a problem and then they would introduce the solution for that problem.
Yeah.
And then that problem would become what the story's about. Yeah. Like, I had a super amount of fun in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could all say it's better than Transformers.
Yes.
Do we want to get into spoilers? Do we want to how do we want to do the plot? Do we just want to talk about some of the crazy shit that we liked?
I mean, let's definitely get into spoilers just so that we don't hamstring it ourselves just trying to talk about it. Spoilers from here on out.
One thing that that was really interesting to me about this movie was how much it relied on you having to watch WandaVision, because I thought for sure they would give us like everything we needed to know for Wanda's descent in this movie. But you absolutely not only had to watch WandaVision, you had to watch the after credits scene to WandaVision to really get Wanda's perspective in this movie.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I think you can still get like her motivations just from the dialogue and what we see in the movie without necessarily having like the full, pseudo sitcom context.
Well, I would say that I agree with Christian, but I also think they do a pretty good job of filling you in on enough information you need. But it definitely, of all the previous Marvel works it ties to the most, it's probably WandaVision the most. It doesn't tie to No Way Home very much. It doesn't tie to the first Doctor Strange very much. As a matter of fact, it kind of feels like we missed a Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point about, there was a whole tease of a plot line with Mordo killing Sorcerers. And gosh, that was 7 years ago.
That was right. And we never saw that, but we never saw it come to fruition, but Strange makes a reference to it as it's something that's already happened in the past. So,
or at least is ongoing.
Right.
Chiwetel Ejiofor looks great with those long dreads, by the way.
Yeah.
We can bring that into the 616 universe if we want.
I was a little surprised at how little he was actually in this movie. I thought he was going to be in it more, but
I mean,
I did too.
We actually, I think we all kind of agreed on the prediction about the size and length of the cameos in this movie, and I was so pleased to find out that we were right, because this is a story about three people, and the story is almost entirely focused on those three people, and there are little fun bits here and there, but for the most part, we're telling the story of Doctor Strange, Wanda, and America Chavez.
Yeah, the cameo bit was great, but it was probably my least favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was the whole Illuminati scene to me is the weakest part of the movie, and I still enjoy it, but
Right.
I almost feel like it's too many people, and I know the internet completely disagrees with that there should have been more,
Right.
but I don't feel like we could give those people even the few seconds they deserve to really shine. And this comes across as sexist, and I don't mean it to, but if it was just Reed, Professor X, and Black Bolt, I think we could have gotten all the exact same information we got out of it without having to share those scenes with Captain Carter and Captain Marvel, who I think are the ones that really don't really add anything, or at least don't get the opportunity to shine in that scene.
Well, and also not to be a huge fucking dork, but those guys wouldn't really be in the Illuminati.
Also true.
The Illuminati's for the smartest people in the thing, and whereas Captain Carter is cool as fuck, she's not like a super smart character.
Also, what an ignominious end to someone who survived the battle of for the universe of multiverses in the What If cartoons to get offed.
I don't think it's the same Captain Carter.
Is it not? It's unclear.
Not. Yeah, I think that's been confirmed.
Okay.
I should say, we're jumping all over the place here, but one thing I wanted to really mention is that I think a lot of people after Endgame and Infinity War was like, hey, why didn't Doctor Strange just cut off Thanos' hand? Well, apparently he really learned from that criticism, because he just loves cutting off limbs in this shit. He's just cutting off tentacles left and right.
I actually really liked, speaking of the battle with Thanos, is how much it comes up of his decision to let him have the Time Stone. I thought that was an interesting plot point in this movie. Yeah.
I mean, again, I think we all went into it thinking that his burden in this was going to be what he had done in No Way Home, but it was what he had done in Infinity War. It was, if he made the right decision in the choice in the path that he took.
Kind of to combine the two things we've been talking about here, I freaking love the justification of killing Doctor Strange in the 836 Illuminati universe. And I loved the Black Bolt murder scene saying sorry. And I thought that was awesome. And it felt very Doctor Strangey to me for the guy to be like, you're right, I am too powerful. Murder me.
Right. Also, man, my brain would not process that was Anson Mounts as Black Bolt. I thought there's no way they brought that dude back. But they did. I mean, it was pretty great.
I didn't
they just put him in that outfit. That silly fucking outfit.
I was just about to say, I don't know, because I don't know anything about the Inhumans. And I know that the fucking TV show got instant canceled. And so I know that Black Bolt is supposed to be one of the main dudes, but he just seems so the opposite of cool, whatever that is, in every possible way. And I don't know if that's reflective of that character in any other medium, but I was not doing it for me in this movie.
I like that normally I'm not one for when, things make fun of themselves, but I like that they made fun of that guy's name, because it is a stupid name.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. They fucking said it out loud.
Yeah.
That's one of the it's one of the gifts in the Spider-Man movies is being able to poke fun at some of this, be silly but not take away from the gravity of whatever the character drama is.
I mean, in No Way Home, I was pretty pissed about the making fun of Otto Octavius, but in this, I loved it. I mean, Blackagon Boltagon deserves a few jokes.
I do. I maybe I am partial to it because it's two Enterprise captains sitting up there. So
that's true. Good point.
What do we think of John Krasinski's Reed Richards? Because that's obviously the big one, I think.
Yeah. What did you guys see this with people?
I did. Yes.
Did people pop for that when you saw it?
I heard a few. Oh wow! Oh my god!
Yeah, I didn't see it with many people, but my buddy Zach saw it like opening night, and he said people went ape shit for that.
Oh, really?
Yes. I wonder. I can't decide whether I think this means he is definitely Reed Richards or he's definitely not Reed Richards.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they've given themselves both options now.
Right.
We are no closer to understanding the answer to that than we were before this movie.
I tell you what my big criticism of it is he's the guy who made it the most obvious that none of those people were in a room together. Like he did not look, he looked almost computer generated by how much his eyes were not matching with looking up at anything.
Yeah, he's fine in it. I John Krasinski is, of course, the safe pick, I think, for Reed, but I think there's probably more inspiring picks out there. I'm glad they acknowledged it in this movie, but
yeah, I mean, look, he can pull off the "I'm smarter than you" and I'm also just a dick kind of vibe, so I think it works okay. I was thinking to myself as I watched this, is like, man, wouldn't it be a bummer to be the smartest guy in the world and your only superpower is fucking being kind of stretchy? And then it occurred to me that Lex Luthor is the smartest guy in the world in the other universe, and the only thing he got was alopecia, so it's still a little better, I think.
Well, I will say, Joseph, you called it. A few weeks ago, you said, I still don't think we have the technology to make stretchy powers look cool. And you're right. I know.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous. But overall, I've bagged on it. But no, I liked seeing John Krasinski in this. It was definitely, it was so predictable, it was a surprise.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in this scene, starting here, but for the whole movie, is fucking Danny Elfman's score kicks so much ass. The Professor X entrance, great.
Yep.
And of course, the music fight, unbelievable. But the thing that I love the most was the Wanda rock montage.
Yeah.
Kicks so much ass.
I will say the credits music seemed heavily inspired by the original Spider-Man theme. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
No, totally. Like, yeah, the music fight, going back to it, that was the point where it first occurred to me, all right, like Marvel's making their first real attempt at going for the stoner dollars. Like that, at some point, that whole movie started to feel like the like kaleidoscope, interdimensional thing at the end of 2001. Like that movie was just that scene expanded.
I mean, I want to give some credit to Scott Derrickson for kind of establishing this look and feel and that whole psychedelic thing in the first Doctor Strange movie, because I do think he does a pretty good job with that. I do think this is like it's a continuation, but it's not like breaking a lot of new ground here. I feel like the first movie does a lot of this. From the outset.
Definitely, but the first movie really saved it for the end. It really saved it for like the Duramu fight and stuff like that. Whereas this was just wall to wall.
Do you guys think, speaking of all the wall to wall craziness, what was it? Those dimensions they went into? Are there any spoilers in there? Or does it move too fast where they don't give a shit? Besides one clearly being Mustafar.
I didn't notice the Mustafar this one.
I didn't either. But that's great.
No, for sure, it's the same Mustafar bit as it is in What If. 100%. No doubt about it in my mind. We're going to, at some point, they're going to be like, there's another universe.
That's going to make me so fucking mad when that happens.
Yeah.
Well, that will bring me to my one big complaint with this. This universe should not be 616. 616 should be the Marvel universe existing in a multiverse with the MCU, which should have its own number.
That's an interesting point. My question to you, though, is first, let me say, we all came out of this very clearly thinking they're building to Secret Wars, right?
100%.
Okay, so then my second point is they're going to make, obviously, Kang is going to be the motivator behind Secret Wars, I think, in the MCU version. At the end of that, are we back to one timeline again?
I think we will be, and this part I'm actually worried about, but I think it's true. I think that's why we're not seeing the X-Men and Fantastic Four yet, because I think we're going to do the multiversal stuff of that first, and then it'll all change when everything gets merged together. Maybe when everything gets merged together is when we get recasts all around. I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing a question I want to ask you guys, because this is a big complaint out there, is a lot of people say Phase 4 seems extremely disjointed. Number one, do we feel that way? And number two, do we think that Marvel's just changed the way they're doing, quote unquote, their phases now?
I don't know that I understand the complaint, honestly.
Well, that and I partially, I don't think it's fair because people compare it too much to say like Phase 2 or Phase 3, where it's very clear like we're building to this thing. But Phase 1 was just a bunch of stories about these superheroes that are brought together in Avengers. And I think a lot of the same thing for Phase 4 is we're telling individual stories. I also don't believe that we're doing it as Phase 1 was like 5 films, then fucking Avengers. We've got like 10 Marvel things in the last 18 months.
Right.
So like, the way they tell stories is different because I would argue there's groupings. I think Eternals, Shang-Chi, something else that I've drawn a blank on. I think that's building towards like Galactus and maybe Fantastic Four. Like there's definitely some sort of thing there. And then you have things like Loki and Doctor Strange and WandaVision that are kind of building us towards like Kang and Secret Wars. And I just think they're doing several different things at once.
Concurrent phases?
One. Yeah.
Phase 4A and Phase 4B.
There you go. When you can tell so many stories now, why would you limit yourself like that?
I mean, you're not
unless
wrong.
You're like 2 years as a phase.
The 2-year comparison to Phase 1, this movie, I think, completes the circle on the datification of Doctor Strange. He is the new father figure of the MCU. They did the Indiana Jones swap of Iron Man and Doctor Strange, and I feel like that transformation is complete now.
No, I think
it is interesting. We've done it back to back, right? Like we did it in this movie and in No Way Home.
I mean, it was the big criticism of I think Doctor Strange coming into the universe in the first place that like their characterizations, regardless of their powers, are so similar, and Marvel's just like, yeah, they're the same fucking person. No, nobody will notice.
Right.
Well, guys, I don't know what else I really have to talk about this movie. I just really fucking loved it.
It's great. I mean, there are a lot of things that I think. I mean, the girl who plays America Chavez is outstanding. I think she's really, really good.
I thought Elizabeth Olsen was excellent in this.
I do too, and that was actually the thing that I thought would really appeal to her. There were two big things that I think are old school resolutions to superhero dilemmas, situations. Conflicts. That's the word I'm looking for. Conflicts. Which is the first one is the resolution to America Chavez's arc is not, I need Doctor Strange to save me. It's, I need to believe in myself more.
Right.
And I fucking love that. That's great.
I know there's people online that hate that think it's weak. I too love that. Like
I know you do.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
And the other thing I loved about it is that they didn't solve the Wanda problem by punching her harder than they said she punched them. They solved it by making her see that she's wrong.
Yes, totally.
And that that's also like not a thing that happens enough. In I was talking a few weeks ago about a bad pitch for Mob Psycho 100 as a Superman story. And I think one of the things I failed to mention that both of them do really well is that a lot of the problems probably could be solved by punching, but the beautiful thing about them is they're not. They're usually solved by talking, and the punching is set dressing. And I feel like that was what happened in this movie also.
Yeah, no, I also loved that, Wanda really wasn't defeated. She just saw that she was wrong, and then she was done, Yep. I know a lot of people are really pissed that they've brought her into the area. Like they thought this story was going to be her redemption story, and instead it was a full-blown heel to her turn. But I think that's fine. It's very in line with what Wanda's like in the comics. She's done a lot worse things in comics than she did in this movie and came back from them. So I still hold out hope for her. And I thought she was cool as hell.
I was about to say, I think she crushes it. I think she comes off as very like, I don't know if sympathetic is the right word, but I mean, like, if you start at WandaVision, the show, in many ways, this is just her own hero story, her own hero's journey. And the moment where she is faced with, other you and her kids from the other universe is I've returned home, but I'm changed now. in a way that I don't fit here anymore.
Right.
I also I feel like the complaint that people have of it being a drastic heel turn is utterly ridiculous, because
it was more ridiculous to me that she ended up being like not the villain
Correct.
at the end of WandaVision.
Right.
Well, like, and if you think about, Wanda has never been the hero in any of these movies, not once. She starts off as a villain in Age of Ultron. She murders innocent people and is the driving plot point in Civil War, albeit accidentally.
I was about to say murders is a strong word there.
And then in Infinity War, she has to kill Vision, which she doesn't want to do. I get it, breaks her. I'm not like judging that decision. But that leading to how much she gives into her anger when she fights Thanos in Endgame. Because it's like, Anakin turn into the dark side. Like, it's just all out. And then, of course, WandaVision, she takes over a whole town and kidnaps them. Right. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. It's like your musical score.
But yeah, I thought it was well in line with the character for her to be this. And like you said, Jehu, this is just classic Wanda Maximoff. This is classic Scarlet Witch.
Right.
So I don't get the hate, because she also kills it at this part.
Right, she does. I also love that her flying in this is very Wizard of Oz. It's not like zipping around, sort of Zack Snyder fast flying. It's just a lot of floating with your arms out. I dug it.
I mean, look, I think that between her and Doctor Strange, and I guess probably starting with Iron Man, they've really improved the like wire flying technology, where it's like the center of gravity is somewhere in the torso, which is way better than it used to be, where you literally just seemed like you were fucking swinging from your arms or your shoulders.
Right, totally.
But I do feel like this movie does enough flying that I'm starting to see the cracks with that also. I'm like, okay, well, it might be time for a technology upgrade. Though on notes of visible cracks with this movie, one of the things that did bother me, despite all the other weird shit that happens in it, is I do wish that there was more magic. Like, so much of it is just shooting like beams and whips at each other. And right. I know it's a budgetary constraint. I know it's unfair of me to ask this, but also they're the fucking richest company in the world. Like, do some more interesting shit.
Right. Totally.
And on a similar note, I know that the whole kind of joke is that Steven is a better sorcerer than Wong, even though Wong is technically the Sorcerer Supreme, but he should be a little bit better of a sorcerer, I think, for having the vast wisdom of whatever, the knower of all. He also is exclusively whips and shields.
I still haven't really fully mentioned my favorite part. Zombie Doctor Strange with his demon cape.
Outstanding.
That shit is so fucking Sam Raimi.
So, this brings me to I was going to go see this with my wife on Friday, and we just didn't work out. But now that that has not happened and I saw it by myself, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go see it with her, because this has some fucked up shit in it.
Right.
And on that note, my wife is, I mean, she would watch it and she'd be fine. She just might not have loved it. But I know her parents, who also watch all these movies, her mom will not like this. She will be very upset by the things that happen in this movie. Right. And so, I don't know if I agree with there's a whole controversy about what the rating systems are. And I think that's kind of pointless in the first place, because I don't really understand the rating systems at all. But like, is this too fucked up for a movie for ostensibly, like, not necessarily kiddie kids, but if they're superheroes, they're kind of for kids.
I think you could make that argument, but is it appropriate for me? 100%.
I mean, I think we're moving into the same sort of thing that caused, PG-13 to happen in the first place.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Used to, there was just PG, and then filmmakers were really pushing what you could do with PG, and then they added a speed bump, and then PG-13 kind of became the only rating. Like, everybody shoots for it. No one wants PG. No one wants R. They want PG-13, but they keep pushing what they can do with PG-13. So, like, are we going to have to do PG-13 plus? I don't know.
That's a good point.
That would be such an honor as a filmmaker for your film to cause the creation of a new rating. Right. Because I know Steven Spielberg's Gremlins was the thing that really tipped off the PG-13 talk.
Right.
I'd be great with that, just so that Sam Raimi could have that honor to lean on for the rest of his life.
I mean, he seems like a guy who would really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, Bruce Campbell's old as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
I did not like him in this movie, and I did not stay for his after credit scene.
His after credit scene, I kind of liked.
That's so rude. Oh yeah,
I'm done with the Bruce Campbell joke. It's played out at this point.
Just let him be. He's there for fucking 10 seconds in a movie.
And we're going to have to agree to disagree with that because I'll never be tired.
So that one is very, just, I don't know, almost making fun of you for saying the very post-credit scene. But I loved the Wanda turn to camera after she takes over the other Wanda.
Oh, it's great.
It's outstanding.
Yeah. Again, though, I don't think anyone else would let that fly, but Raimi's like, absolutely. Hold it. Go longer.
Yeah. The other thing I want to see, so, I think the two most messed up things in this are definitely the Corpse Strange and his demon cape, and all of the gruesome deaths of the Illuminati in the other universe.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, particularly the Black Bolt, and maybe the Mr. Fantastic one isn't that bad. I imagine that Sam Raimi told them what to do, and then he saw it and was like, could you add like a little pop at the end? But I just want to see what the original cut was for the cutting Captain Britain in half, because I know it wasn't that cut.
Right.
And I know I had to go back and change it.
That part was all pretty great. The Black Bolt thing was definitely tough.
Yeah.
My only complaint is did they buy that like cubing effect on like a discount or something? Because they throw that in like every movie. They did it like multiple times with the fucking Infinity Stones, where someone gets divided into hundreds of cubes.
That is true.
So last scene in the regular movie, what did you guys think of the eyeball opening? Because I thought it was hilarious.
I mean,
I loved it.
Again, it's the most Raimi-y ending.
It is. I mean, like it should have had a caption below it that said, "In case you forgot."
Yeah,
like it was so Raimi, and I just loved it.
Well, like I said, I think there are bits in this movie that are like very referenced to other films. Like there are shots in the beginning of this movie that like absolutely could live in Raimi's Spider-Man movie. Like it looks identical. Right. And the ending is 100% Drag Me to Hell. Yeah. Where you think you got in a way, you think you won, you think you're great. Oh shit. Nope. Life. There are consequences to your actions. That's the end of the movie.
Right.
Man, speaking of technology catching up, we really need to do something about that eyeball if it's going to stay around, though, because
it's not good.
It looks fucking terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the only other, big thing is there's one more cameo / I guess permanent casting in the MCU, which is Charlize Theron is playing Clea, and she pops up at the end, and her and Doctor Strange run off into the dark dimension. After watching Doctor Strange 1, I have to assume this after credits scene is pointless.
That's a good point.
Who knows if we'll ever see what happens in the dark dimension.
But the main thing I got from this is that costume looked like something from Sky High or something.
100%.
Like it was not great. And you just moments ago heard me go ape shit over how ridiculous Black Bolt's costume is. I love a good ridiculous costume, but this one was pushing it.
Yeah, it's not one that it should be translated. Let's just give her a new look entirely, I would say.
That being said, I love Charlize. She'll probably be fun to have in these movies.
Well, I've got nothing else. What do you guys want to close on?
I think we're going to get accused by at least one person of just spending this whole episode sucking Raimi's dick, which is not inaccurate. But this movie is really good, and it's fun and fresh in a way that I don't feel like a Marvel movie has been in a little while. So I recommend it. If you don't like horror movies, though, you may not like it.
Right. But also, if you don't like Marvel movies, you may still like it.
That's also true. That's a good counterpoint.
I don't really think you need to love Marvel movies to love this one, because it's just, I'm a big believer that, movies and comics also are a visual medium, and they can survive on just the visuals if the visuals go for it enough. And this one really goes for it visually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too much more on, sucking Raimi's dick, to your point, Joseph, but I would even go a step farther, is not just Marvel movies. Like most people don't make movies like this anymore. And it kind of sucks. Like, I like that this feels retro and campy and cheesy. Like, I like those traits about Sam Raimi movies, and I wish more people did it, though they're not going to do it as well as he does. And so I'm just, at the end of the day, it's a character I love. It's a character that I thought the style really suited, and it's a director I love, and I'm glad that it works.
You know, you just made me think of something that really, like, most of these movies, most of these superhero movies are really trying to make it look like, hey, what would this look like if this occurred in the real world? And I think why Sam Raimi is so fun when he does this is that he's like, hey, there's no way this could occur in the real world, so let's just go ape shit.
Yeah. So I think that's Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Better than Transformers, unilaterally. Yep. Well, cool. What have we been watching this past week, guys?
So I teased it last week, and you guys just got to expect I'm going to talk about Star Trek at this point. Season 2 of Picard is finally over. And listen, it's not good. It's just not. I'll give it two compliments. I've ragged on it so much on this show that I will end on 2 positives for it, which is, number one, John Delancey is a freaking treasure. I don't know why he's not in more stuff. He's so good as Q, and his last few scenes in that show are just, they're outstanding. I don't really know. It's weird. This is a weird thing about this show, which is I don't really know that I like the choices, but I like the execution. Like, I don't really like what they do with Q, but I like how John Delancey delivers the lines. And it works. And those two have acted against each other for so long now. It was really, really cool to get some closure. The second compliment I will give is it does have the most Star Trek answer for the Borg. And it's one that I have never thought of. And I actually really, really liked it. But again, I don't know that I like the execution. It was like they tried to pull the rug out from underneath you and be like, look at this great Star Trek answer that we've never done before. And it's like, I mean, that's cool in concept, but I just don't like how you did it. But I will give it props for trying and giving me a true Star Trek solution for the Borg. One major diss is at one point Jean-Luc Picard is walking around with a pistol and shooting people. Don't like it. Don't think that fits the character at all. I don't care if he's fighting for his life. That is not what that dude would do. I hated that moment so friggin' much. But overall, worse than Transformers. I'm still a sucker. I will watch season 3 because goodness gracious, the one last thing they could do was pull the whole freaking cast back. And they chose to do that. Also, spoilers. Sorry, Jehu. Fucking Wesley Crusher shows up. And I did not see that coming. And it's been so long that something blew my mind that seeing Will Wheaton on a TV show again literally sent me into almost a comatose state.
I mean, that's fucking great because I've always thought Wesley, like, hasn't he paid enough for leaving?
Yeah.
Like, he never really got invited back for any of the movies, Like, I that's good to hear. That makes me kind of want to watch this.
I like to imagine that you saw Will Wheaton come on screen and you're like, oh, it's the guy from The Big Bang Theory.
I hate The Big Bang Theory. Absolutely.
Because I feel like he's more known for that than Star Trek at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about anyway. But Star Trek Picard season 2, it's not worth your time, but I suffered for you.
Well, funny thing, we were going to do this, I think tomorrow instead. So everything I was going to watch tonight. So I really don't have a huge amount to talk about, but I will talk about this one thing. So there's this one episode of Sunny where they basically experience a previous episode over. And, the whole time they're like, haven't we done all this before? And I'm positive that's true about this thing here. I've said this at least twice on this podcast, but me and Sarah started watching Lost again. We're about 4 episodes in. I think we tried this 2 times before and didn't finish it, but I think it had been too soon. I think we're ready now. I think we're going to go through the whole thing this time. So you will probably hear more updates from me about Lost, but still, from what I've watched so far, man, that pilot still holds up as probably the best pilot to anything ever.
Yes.
It's a good pilot.
And, we just did the John Locke episode. And, like, even when the twist, that episode is still, it just lands so well. It sets up that character so great for the, next 6 years of that show. So I'm pretty excited to be doing this, but I'll have some stuff to talk about next week that you two guys will be interested in.
Okay. I will say, so this was on the sly and then it stopped happening, so I never brought it up. But the wife and I started and then stopped watching Lost about a year ago because she just stopped being interested in it. And the things that I remember rewatching it after quite a while, firstly, so many things happened in the first season and a half, like 2 seasons, I guess, that I was like, what happens with the rest of the show? I remember season 6 and I remember seasons 1 and 2, and I have no idea what the fuck happened after. And I may never know now because Val stopped watching it with me.
Right.
And the other thing that I remember is just that I think I'm just gayer than I was when I watched it the first time. When it first came out, I was a teen with raging hormones, and Kate was like super doing it for me at that particular time.
Right.
Rewatching it like last year, I was like, damn, Sawyer and Saeed are so attractive.
Oh, they're the hottest.
So handsome.
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely the dudes on this are way better looking dudes than the ladies. Like, even John Locke is an old bald guy. He's about as cool looking as an old bald guy can be.
That's probably true. I'm still so mad that Naveen Andrews never fucking did anything. I mean, it's also true for Josh Holloway.
Naveen Andrews has a show on Hulu right now.
Nobody watches shows on Hulu.
The Dropout or something, I think is what it's called.
Oh,
I don't watch it either, but I know
Theranos
he's there.
one.
Yeah.
All right. I'm also on this podcast. I should talk about what I've been watching. It's anime. Big surprise.
Right.
Yeah. So look, spring of this year is not like the strongest season of all time. I've said that several times, but it's still true. There is one show that I'm still watching that is probably the only other one that I think is worth talking about of all of the ones that I'm watching, which is called Love After World Domination. And the premise is basically Power Rangers, but what if the Red Ranger and Rita Repulsa were hooking up on the side? And it's pretty funny. It's a rom-com-y kind of thing. It's really goofy. It's lovingly playful with the whole Power Rangers style TV show. And it's just genuinely a funny show. So Love After World Domination. But that's pretty much it.
I think we should name this section of the podcast, which is Joseph pitches animes that already exist.
What?
Because whenever you talk about an anime, you always have a pitch for it. Like you always
compare
have,
it to something.
So what?
You always compare it to something else.
Right.
What I need to start doing is come up with the new names for animes, because the problem is the name does not pitch you on anything.
Right.
And so it's important for me to be like the translator, be like, oh no, this is the actual value behind whatever inscrutable, awful name and poster that this anime has.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Next week, do we have anything?
No plans.
No plans.
We should definitely do something that's not Marvel next week.
Well, I have an idea that Christian I know watched this weekend. How do you feel about that, buddy?
Yes, sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do Dear Evan Hansen that just dropped on HBO Max.
Okay.
It's
funny. I saw that was on HBO Max and it filled me with dread.
I'm so excited. I want to hate it. I want to hate it so bad.
Right.
I'm very excited about it. The worst thing it can be is middling.
All right, next week we'll do that.
All right, that sounds good. Add that to whatever other secretive things that you're doing, Hurt.
Right.
All right, well, thanks everybody for listening. Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. Let us know what you think about Multiverse of Madness or Sam Raimi or your favorite Sam Raimi movie. You can reach us at realphonies@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies, on Instagram, real_phonies. Thanks to Zach Evans for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.